I think just didn't understand how fast that game was going to go for them, and maybe they were trying to make a lot of these small plays around the map, but the heroes just weren't that conducive to it. The laning phase was okay for them. You know, this is a team that's okay playing from behind out of the lanes, but you can only get away with that so much in a top 6 of a tournament which is featuring almost entirely European teams, right? These teams play very fast, they own the lanes, they come out blazing, and then they have heroes that can convert into objectives very quickly. It is a very similar lineup here for Tundra. They have a lot of team fight, a lot of ball potential, some sustain, and another lone druid that could just get absolutely out of control. The one difference here for XG is they clearly went back to trying to win the lanes a bit more or have stronger cores that can stand there for longer. I think that will work out better for them. But they also have some liabilities like a Nyx who, what is he doing in a laning phase versus a lone druid clock? Dying, nothing. So that's a big question mark for me, right? Like you picked this Nyx to interact with Ench. He's not even laning against the Ench. However, this has been a hero Xinq has gone to, and you know, like we saw Kuala Lumpur this year, they were very far behind in that Nyx game and managed to find some clutch pickoffs to claw their way back.
Now, they had an interesting discussion on the panel about defending towers versus the ability of Tundra to just kind of push through that and just kind of dive you underneath those towers. They've got some pretty good heroes to be able to do so. Do you think that Xtreme are going to be more capable in this game than being able to, you know, defend some of their outer towers and tier 2s, prevent some of this snowball going to Tundra? Or are we going to be looking at another split push game where there's a Monkey King on one side of the map and a Nyx Assassin on the other?
I mean, I hope that's not what it comes to, because I don't know if XG are going to fare too much better in that regard. I think they have a much faster carry. That's the biggest difference, right?
Yeah.
Ame had a very rough game last game. He had about 2,500 hero damage in that entire match. Oof. That might be one of the lowest in TI history. So I expect him to be mad here and come out and say, you know what? I'm not going to have a repeat of that. I'm going to deal some hero damage. I'm going to kill some heroes. And one of the best ways to defend your towers is if you just take the offensive potential to your enemy. Start going on them, killing them around the map. If you don't let Tundra group up because they never have all 5 heroes alive, you don't have to worry about defending those towers as much. If it comes to it and Tundra group and push your tower, you have some outspam, but I agree, the dive potential's there. And Lone Druid, I mean, this hero's just, he's disrespectful. There's no other, he's a dishonest hero, he's dirty. There's a reason all these dirty, dishonest European teams are spamming him, you know? Like, this hero just ignores a lot of the basic mechanics of Dota. If he wants to push your tower, if he wants to dive you, and he has double summon up, he's going to do it, and he's probably going to get away with it unless you bring everybody.
XM challenging tops in here for dominance in the mid lane. Doesn't really care about the Fade Bolt. He just keeps on playing on tops inside of the river here, trying to keep him off of any of these creeps.
Yeah, ideally you zone him. Like, if you can get a zone couple waves in between that, like, level 4 to 6 before the Rubik can maybe make a rotation or get out of that lane, it should be Viper favored here. XM will absolutely free farm this lane. Just a matter of how much punish he gets on this Rubik. And again, like the panel said, there's no spells to really steal from the Viper in the early game. But man, when you look at the rest of this lineup, I mean, there's a reason Thompson asked for this mid Rubik. Nyx spells, Underlord spells, Jakiro spells, even the Tree Dance are all so nice as this game goes later. And if you ever get to that Ags, some other items on top of that, like an Octarine or whatever, we have seen Thompson absolutely pop off on this hero.
Yeah, you combine a dominant laning phase for the Viper, who's currently sitting 16-7, so very good start. Do you think we're going to see support rotations into that mid lane as well to try and keep him down even further?
You can rotate this Enchantress. You have very good early game presence on the supports for Tundra. But it's kind of a scary hero to rotate into because XG can TP their own supports in and they have a lot of turnaround potential.
Clever use of the enchant there to dispel off the Jingu. But Ame gets it anyway off the Boundless Strike and will be able to get some lifesteal, pump up his HP a bit more.
To me, the big question this laning phase is what happens on this top lane. Like, how much does this Lone Druid get to punish this double melee lane? And can XG fight back?
Well, right now, it looks like the double melees are trying to punish Whitemon for going for that Cogs to get some damage on him and are able to kind of fight through. But yeah, the Lone Druid is still in prime position, 23-8.
That's scary. Like, this hero with a good laning phase is just in a world of his own. I would really like if XG try and put some pressure onto the Lone Druid, at least a little bit, before he just completely gears up into the Gleipnir. Like, if you can snag 1 or 2 kills on Pure here, you're going to feel a lot better as this game progresses. And you have heroes that can do it. Like, Monkey King can rotate into this Lone Druid, catch him from the tree line, stun him before the true form goes off. Nyx can do something similar later on with the Vendetta. You have some cool ideas here on how to start on this hero, but a lot of it is dependent on that first 1 or 2 kills are the most important here to snag at some point in this game for XG.
Yeah, I feel like the laning phase interaction mechanics are important, but I almost feel like, especially watching a lot of these Western European teams, that it's who uses the gate more effectively in that, post 5 to 10 minutes area. What carries are going through the gates, what supports are able to go through and successfully gank. Here, though, no rotations required, perhaps, as XXS finds himself isolated underneath his battery cell, takes a lot of damage for it. Jin-Q trying to run interference also takes a healthy amount of damage before hitting the impale.
I mean, they're fighting back on this lane. It's not going too bad for XG, and this is maybe a more stable laning phase than they had in that game 1. The Viper's going to continue to power up. The Monkey should be okay on this bottom lane as he is getting harassed, and Enchantress is annoying for your Jinku stacks. Another go here. You do not want to feed kills to this lone
Are they
druid.
going to get this kill first? They do! XXS barely manages to get the cleave through to get the kill on Whitemon before he in turn falls to Pure. So it is a support for core trade-off, but at least that core was able to get some experience for the kill.
Throw a little puppy paws on top, no problem,
Yeah. Paying homage to one of the greats, as the 6-minute Lotus is going to be coming in quite soon.
We do see that the CS differential on mid start to open up. So these trades happening top, I mean, you just have to battle through them if you're XG, but you're trying to win the other 2 lanes, right? This is your sacrificial lane to a degree. You want a strong Viper, a strong Monkey King here. And if this Rubik continues to suffer in this mid lane matchup, like this is a hero that does not like getting his XP sapped or being forced off of waves, right? You really want a fast 6, you want a fast boots, you want to be able to move around the map, get involved in the early fights. This Viper, if he just sits mid and if Rubik rotates, you match him with a TP of that lane, I could see XM feeling very comfortable in this game, and this is one of his signature heroes for sure. We talked a lot about the sniper in game 1, but this is a hero that XG have just won tournaments with. Jin-Q will walk off what has been a tough lane to get through, but they are clawing their way through it here.
Speaking of this Viper, I mean, it's all well and good picking this hero to win the laning phase, but we've seen through various metas, in fact, this patch as well, the Viper has been picked up, and while it may do well in the laning phase, it hasn't managed to win the game. So what is this Viper going to be doing for Xtreme Gaming going into the mid game?
I think they as a team play around these turret heroes better than a lot of other teams.
Okay.
They know how to move the hero around the map, take proper fights with him, so that's the biggest thing, right? If this Viper moves, you need to get a lot out of it. And if he doesn't move, ideally you abuse his laning advantage, either rotating and snowballing the hero. I'd say that's how someone like Gaiman would play with it. Or you're confident in the scale. You have things to back him up and you're just confident in the core matchups.
7-minute Wisdom Rune. It's about to spawn soon, and the pressure is amping up in the offlane, where XXS is getting dove by an Enchantress Clockwork. They turn around, though, and they're killing the bear. That straight up is going to be a 300 gold for XXS and the defended tower. But the Wisdom Rune still needs defended. Saksa, he tried to make a play for it, but he sees double support and finds that it is not a Wisdom Rune he should be worrying about. It's his own life, stuck in a corner, and killed.
Did you get the steal, though? Whitemon
Ane gets the steal on the other side of the map, though, so it's still even. Whitemon commits for it underneath the tier 2. The creep wave is coming in, though. He takes a couple of tower shots, and now slowed down by Jin-Q and XXS. A second support punished for Tundra daring to go for that dive.
Almost a catastrophe for Tundra on that rune fight. If they don't get that Wisdom Rune, I think they are basically walking away with nothing there. Lose a bear, lose 2 supports, especially early fighting supports like Enchantress Clockwork. This is not the support duo you want losing in these open exchanges to what some would argue is a little greedier with this Nyx being there. That is a lot of net worth and experience going to Jin-Q off this laning phase. He is very happy with what has happened in this top lane. We did see the dive potential, but that bear was just too low HP in this Underlord. Not an easy hero to dive this early in the game.
No. Part of the reason that Xtreme did pick it up, right? It's going to be one of the best heroes to deal with that kind of extension by Tundra. Managed to hit that stun onto the Enchantress. The poison burst. It looks like it's combating against the Wiz, and it's just not going to be quite enough damage. Turns around the Viper Strike. That breaks the Viper and makes him so much easier for Whitemon to kill with that magic damage. Jin-Q up next, perhaps, as he hits the Impale, but look at him looping around from the side is Pure to help get this kill. They are not afraid to move their carry around, and he provides just the extra bit of damage needed to get the kill and straight to the mid-tier 1 tower pressure.
DY trying to clean up this Enchantress. Very close, he'll snag him. Big pickup for him on this Shakiro, almost pushes him to level 6, but that tier 1 tower is absolutely gone. It's a very similar game. You misplay versus a lone druid lineup, you're going to lose objectives. And that is just an open area fight that does not favor XG. That's where the Clock and the Enchantress just thrive. You're going to get punished every time, and some nice spell play from Thompson to turn the Viper against himself. I mean, that is the one spell you would want this game, this Viper Strike. It's going to be absolutely nasty against some of the cores here on XG's side.
Yeah. Viper really cannot afford to give that up too often. Jin-Q TP down to this bottom lane, but Ame backed away at the same time, so...
It's going Battle Fury? Okay. This is greedy. Like, we saw last game, we didn't see a time zone for a lot of time. That Void buildup was slow. Battle Fury Monkey can also be very slow if you get it on an off timing, or you don't have a free game, or you don't also join the fights and clean up. I mean, again, you're looking at a lineup from Tundra. They're going to be pushing you. They're not going to give you time to just AFK farm the jungle as much as you might want to in this game. This will pay off over the ultra long term, but you run into similar issues as game one.
They already failed to defend one tower, but perhaps a second one can be defended here as a Viper Strike catches Ramses as his aggression will get him killed. Back through the gate they go, but they are going to be kind of set up. Whitemon throws out the cogs on these heroes, but they don't actually have the numbers perhaps, as so many heroes come through the gate that Xtreme Gaming overwhelmed Tundra. Kill the support, take down the bear, go after the hero as well. Pure, he draws a new bear out from the ground. Ame, he gets a couple of Jingo hits in his supports though. Can't get there in time to be able to provide the disables. Instead, they're fighting Thompson. Thompson underneath the tank, can't live. Meanwhile, Ame gets turned around on by Pure, who pops his ultimate, and his bear managed to double team the Monkey King. It'll do the same to the Underlord.
Pure is so strong in this early game. Diffusal already up, Spark of Courage going to work. In fact, 2 Sparks of Courage. They both will activate here as they get low, and XG just overextends. Super nice gate movements. They do get the Rubik pickup, and the Viper stays alive, so that little battle they won. Thompson going down again. His game is very rough at this point. But would you sacrifice a little Rubik net worth here to boost the Lone Druid into this position? I think you would.
Yeah, I mean, your Lone Druid is the entire key to your lineup, right?
Yes, he is the fulcrum. He is the hero you're going to fight around and try and snowball this game off of. And it is a 3-0-3 start for Pure on this Lone Druid. He's very strong right now, almost level 10.
And he's going to take even more as he comes through the gate. Take that safe lane tower. Maybe take DY's head with it. Soxa tries to slow him down with a blood grenade. Finally catch up long enough for the diffuser blade to get it active. That's enough.
Thompson will get a level 2 dual breath for his troubles. Also pocketing an arcane rune right now. So he's poor, but he has some spell power to play with and can easily join these fights. He's going to get a bunch of gold off the objectives as well. So as Pure opens up this map, it'll help him recover. And you could definitely go in for early Roshan this game if you are Tundra. Enchantress can help boost it up. Got some Skelly Boys for some extra damage. XG continuing to look for trades, very similar to game one. They have some gate potential like we saw there. I like the idea of just making these fast moves with everybody outnumbering Tundra. If they had snagged that Lone Druid kill, this game might have just swung completely in their favor, but another quick find from Jin-Q. I mean, he's having a great game here on this Nyx, all things considered. He's level 7, Urn already up, going Vessel on the Nyx to try and deal with the Lone Druid heal. Try and push through maybe the Sand King Bloodstone a little later on.
And that Bloodstone is going to be happening at this rate because Ramses, we haven't talked about him hardly at all, but he's just having one of those quiet farming games for the Sand King, which he does do, right? We saw from like 33 Sand King, for example. Just hoovers up all these neutral creeps, collects all this gold, all of a sudden comes out, and he's just a team-fighting menace. He's got 6K net worth right now, well ahead of anybody else on Xtreme.
And it'll be first item hype for him. So he's going the team item over the greedier option.
Hookshot lands, Thompson tries to follow this up, but a gate from XXS gets him away, manages to steal that gate. Can Thompson do anything with this, though?
A very interesting spell to have.
An opportunity to meet Xtreme's movements, perhaps? A way to be able to outmove
action. I do like the pace XG are bringing here compared to game one at least.
Yes.
They're making a lot more moves. The moves are working for them. They're combining a lot more heroes very quickly. You can see the idea. They just don't want to get outmatched in that department again.
I mean, they've already tripled up the number of kills they got in game one. So
yeah, I think Ame's tripled his hero damage too. So things are working out a bit better here. And this Underlord is going to be a menace in the early fights. Like, he's going to have a fast pipe himself. That is a really big item for XG to rally behind. You know, Viper, you put this Viper in the front of the fight, you throw some auras behind him. If you add a little bit of sustain, sometimes he can just stand in the front line, burst the Sand King, burst the Rubik, and be really annoying with that corrosive haze and the corrosive skin going to work. So I can see this ball coming together for XG, but this is a very pivotal next 5 or 10 minutes here. Cannot start to bleed kills and objectives, and you really need to get Ame past this kind of mid-game point of, okay, he's closing in on the Battle Fury, but how much time are Tundra going to give him to use that Battle Fury before this game heats up? Because you are still looking at a very farmed Lone Druid.
Yeah, he is over 2k ahead of the Monkey King, and he's got a Sand King with a pipe complete. So the bear does a lot of damage. It's got some catch thanks to the Fuse Blade inhibit, potentially the root as well, and you're not going to turn around and kill it, not with the extra magic resistance the pipe's going to be able to provide. So add in even more free power runes for Thompson everywhere he goes, because Xtreme Gaming refused to play the middle part of the map. They've conceded that area time and time again, and will just play the side lane. Shin-Q, Whitemon.
You want this Underlord up top. XXS will try and vacate the area. Do you gate on him here? It's a big question.
Stolen Spell still available for Thompson. He'll TP back. Tundra, I assume, are playing this part of the map for Roshan, right? Like, we want to take these off-lane towers, but also Roshan on the table, you said, was
Oh, he's going to gate Ame bottom, maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Roshan hits him, and here comes the gate. A move that Ame was not expecting. What does he do about this one? Hits the trickery, but he knows he's got to run the magic damage of Thompson. It's easily going to overwhelm him. Finally, the gate is put to use here, and Tundra back through it to the other side of the map.
Very efficient move. Thompson was pinging that one out. Just an easy setup here from Ramses. He'll even go through the gate, so Tundra bringing 5 heroes back to this triangle, and XG smoking straight into them here without the Monkey King.
Fighting without the monkey is a bold move, and they've already been jumped on, but what an Ice Path Macro Pyre. A beautiful hit that does no damage, though. Pipe shrugs off most of it. Poor Ramses is stuck inside the Macro Pyre for so long. He almost dies. Still, though, the fight is good for Tundra as they keep chasing after heroes. DY is going to be stunned up long enough for the rest to follow it up. The bear does not quite die. So both Ramses and the bear get low. Nobody actually falls. Tundra picking up a 5k net worth lead now.
3,200 damage done by XG, and they kill nothing there. Just all gets pumped into this Sand King pipe, and the sustain of the bear took a lot of it as well, but Pure able to TP it out in time. Even 6 poison stacks did not bring it down. Once more, XG just lacked the damage here. Now Blink is up for Ramsey, so you have more initiation power, more dive potential.
Stolen Firestorm is perfect to get the damage. The Underlord, a tanky hero, not against this kind of overwhelming advantage that Tundra are bringing to every single fight. Xtreme, you specifically said this is the time where they need to make sure they do not bleed out in kills and towers. And that's exactly what Tundra is doing to them.
They're finding the openings. This game is starting to spiral in their favor. They just have such a commanding pace with the start that Pure's had. The Gleipnir's already done on him. And Solar Crest flying in for Soxa means you can power up this bear even more. They have everything online. This level 4 Firestorm is just the cherry on top for the mid Rubik here. And you just finished your Battle Fury. So on the flip side, while Pure's almost ready to go high ground, Ame's like, gosh, I need another 20 minutes.
Time to start farming.
My game just began. XG, they need to find a way to make space in this game.
I feel like I've seen this story a few times in this series. DY, Jakiro, alone somewhere on the map, found, and we'll make Tundra work for it a little bit. They'll have to use the hook shot. Meanwhile, mid lane, they actually jumped on a Pure. Pure does manage to get off his ultimate, and Ramses came in with the epicenter. It's not an easy kill, but XM can do the damage. The Viper is more than enough, and Ramses, Ame! A 4-step caught him out of the rocket flare. That surely would have been a death sentence.
That is so close to a terrible death for Ame, but instead he gets to join the fight, pick up some extra gold on top of it. And he does the most damage there with a massive Wukong. Pure, he felt invincible. He felt like this game was too good to lose. And XG, they find the opening they need in this series. Now all of a sudden, we have ourselves a Dota game because this monkey is going to get the time he needs.
Tundra immediately try and strike back without 2 of their cores. 2 supports leading the way. Thompson to help out. XM with that vessel on him. He's burning, but they do have supports coming in now. XM helped out by the pipe. Can he live through this? No, but he does get his revenge, certainly, from the grave. He spits out back at Tundra and will claim 3 lives for his own.
And Ame's going to get another team fight cleanup here. Says, thank you, XM. The buffet has been set. Jin Q is starting to turn into a fourth core here. We've seen this in a lot of the Knicks games. He just finds these little openings, and it doesn't take much for him to be a huge threat. This Vessel has absolutely paid off versus these big team fight frontliners. Another 2,000 gold swing here for XG, and this game is back to even.
The table is set, dinner is served. Ame and Jin Q are feasting out here. Look at him jump up the net worth, almost catching up to the Sand King now.
And it's so many levels too. Fights. I mean, this is another play where, like, this is the strength of Viper. When you go on him and you overextend and you need that last bit of HP to get through him, it sets the team fight up for the rest of the team. The pipe comes through. It's just too much to get through. Thompson's out of mana. Soxa can heal, but that's a 1-for-3 trade, and XG will take that every time. More Vessel charges for the Knicks and a lot of experience going their way. You now have a Monkey King who's level 14 versus a Lone Druid who is also level 14. That lead in the carry count carry matchup is evaporated by now.
Feels like Tundra got a little bit too used to the net worth lead and the way the momentum was going in this series. Game 1 was such a dominant show from them, and it felt like Game 2 might be a repeat performance, but now they're beginning to get picked off and falling apart. The Nyx Assassin setting up Xtreme Gaming for another successful kill.
And an amp damage rune for one of their cores. XM will pick it up. They can start to do some tower pushing of their own. Jin Q finds another massive opening in this game. This mid Rubik is starting to get abused. He is falling behind the enemy 4 position and becoming a liability.
Set that trade-off. Would you take an under-farmed Rubik in exchange for an over-farmed Lone Druid? One death on Pure has made that strategy from Tundra fall really flat. And bug indeed, Jin Q playing the Nyx Assassin, perhaps the MVP for Xtreme Gaming, as he has set them up for so many kills by now and has finally gotten Xtreme Gaming a net worth lead. What feels like the first time in this game. We'll see if they can actually keep that growing, though.
It's a very pivotal moment in this game. If XG can continue to find the momentum, then we could be looking at one of the, is it the first potential Game 3 on this main stage?
Since we got to the main stage, it's just been 2-0s all the way through. Bit disappointing, but maybe we could finally see one. Xtreme, especially Ame, especially. He doesn't want to go out like this, man.
No.
I mean, he has so many second places, third places, fourth places at TI.
Look at this.
2022, he had a 6th place performance.
A 1% lead in Golden XP. They have crawled their way to an advantage somehow.
It seems like it's still slightly favoring. I saw 45-55 to the favor of Tundra. Where do you think that comes from?
I mean, the Lone Druid's still very strong, right? And you're still kind of in his game. Pure has control in terms of where and when the fights happen. If Tundra get a big pick off into Roshan, they can regain a lot of the momentum. And we still have this Sand King, right? This hero has dominated a lot of the games on the main stage. Ramses is still the most farmed hero in the game. In fact, he's going back for the Bloodstone. So he's like, all right, you know, the Blink Pipe push, it didn't pan out completely for us, but we can still scale here. We can still pick up the team fight slack. He's still going to become a beast. In theory, this Monkey King pick can deal with these heroes in the ultra late. This is why it was prioritized so highly in that first round by XG. It's a hero that can dice up the Sand King even through a lot of his spells, because you just throw the Wukong and you match him.
And he'll be able to ignore a lot of the magic damage coming his way with the BKB as his next item.
Yep. This is going to be a battle of magic resistances in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, you have this Rubik Lone Druid who can buff up and become very tanky versus a lot of the spell damage, but on the flip side, you have this Viper who's his own menace. You have a Monkey who's going to have BKB and potentially very strong fight around the Roshan, and you have a pipe on both sides. Initiations are going to become very key as this game progresses. What can Jin Q find?
Oh, this is maybe a little too
awkward.
deep. I'm not sure if you want this one. Hexx says he committed for that one. He throws out the pin. Where's he going? He's not going back. He pushes forward. Kamikaze straight past the tier 2 tower. I guess it helps Jin Q get away.
I mean, that was clearly not a play the second Jin Q started to bail. XXS did not get the memo.
Very awkward. Just as we were praising Xtreme Gaming for having some cleaner executions in this Game 2 than they did Game 1, they fall right back to Game 1's mistakes.
I mean, just type space for Ame, because he just finished BKB.
Guess so. See what that space can do for them, though, because, I mean, you said they could do Roshan pretty early. Tundra have yet to be able to find that objective. They're finally going to make the play now, but Xtreme Gaming are going to try and defend it here. They won't have the Underlord Fiend's Gate, but he could TP into the outpost and make a full 5-on-5.
Currently, the entire Bloodstone for Ramses is flying out right now, but it's far. If XG take this fight right now, you're missing a huge amount of net worth on this Sand King.
And Ame is maybe going to be able to get a really good ultimate here.
On all of them.
The corner of the pit. He's going to throw it out. Drops
it's an illusion.
Down the strike. He went out to an illusion. That's disastrous. The rest of the team is going to have to make a better initiation, but the Roshan's already dead. And Ame, he pops his BKB, but for what? To try and get Thompson. It seems like he's managed to get his Jingu stacks up, and we'll finish off that pesky Rubik. XXS needs some help. The bear is currently causing problem. What a hit from his Q. But Ramses is still strong with a Bloodstone. Running around with his Sandstorm, trying to chase after these heroes. Somehow Pure managed to get through this one, and now his bear starts going to work. A hit from the Valley Strike, a push away from the bear. Get back, get back. Shen Q tries to make a run for it, but the Gleipnir gets him in his hole. XM standing strong.
The Viper
take down the Lone Druid once. Ame, can he make it twice though? In the way, XM, he's out of here. A TP out, DY does the same, but Ame will be left behind.
Oh, Pure. He switched his items onto the main Lone Druid just to get that Gleipnir out. What an insanely heads-up play.
Oh, no way.
But XM, he just lived through that entire fight. The Viper, he stands, he delivers 6,000 damage. They get the Aegis, they get forward, they get a buyback on the Clockwork. An extremely even fight, but one that XG are probably okay with because now you took that second life out of the Lone Druid's hands, and again, you slowed the tempo down. Still, what we didn't see at the bottom of that screen was Ame. He went on the bottom tree line. He dropped a Wukong on a Rubik illusion that got baited. Thompson with, I think it's just an illusion rune, did so much work in that fight. And now he will be caught again. This is another deep committal.
Whitebot might have just bailed him out with a beautiful hook shot at Cogs. They're all grouped up. Thompson is dead, but maybe Ramses with a three-man burrow. Hit that epicenter, hit the bear roar. Get as much as you can out of this. It's a grab bag.
These gates, they have been a blessing and they have been a curse for XG. That it's another one that just felt too deep.
And a third hero to go. Ramses gets him on the burrow too. All three that went through that gate will die for it.
Tundra strike back with another gift just straight into the heart of their side of the map. And Ame's looking on like, guys, is this the fight we want to take? XG just not respecting the numbers that can come from Tundra around these tier 2s. And now you gave him an opening, you gave him push potential. Pure straight into the high ground. Alpha Wolf here for Soxa for more damage boost. And the Ags is done for the Rubik, so despite Thompson having an extremely rough game here, in fact, he is bottom 3 net worth. This is a support Rubik at this point.
They're making this push without the Rubik. Extreme Gaming gonna try and catch the heroes before they can retreat. That is a big misclick there from XM.
I mean, he got that siege creep.
Yeah, siege creep down, I guess.
That is a range Drax claim from Tundra. Not an end-all be-all given the game state, but another big momentum loss for XG, who felt like they were clawing their way back in this series. They'll have to fall back a bit, regroup here as they try and get Ame to his next item.
Some over-aggression and mistakes cost Xtreme what could have been a hold on this game. Wrestled from their grasp, and now Tundra with a 5k net worth lead, a range barracks down. They can exploit another maneuver from Xtreme like that. We could be looking at another full lane, another second lane. I mean, this tier 2 goes down and the whole base is potentially open for Lone Druid's taking.
How much can you control the objective taking right now? How much can you get these lanes out and continue to try and find openings with this Nyx Assassin? I think Tundra are done getting picked off. They're just grouping for the rest of this game, it might be. Though I don't know if XG want to gate into them anymore. Yeah. Players have not panned out as much as they did in the early game.
Look at DY. What is this, man? He smokes out to get some wards down, some very deep vision, but are these wards actually going to be helpful to you if it's Tundra just pushing into your base? I mean, they're not leaving Xtreme side of the map right now.
They're great for deep wave cutting and splitting the lanes behind Tundra's front line, dragging them back, because this will see some of the setup on heroes trying to catch Ame or kill the Viper on their side of the map. As long as you can feel like you can defend your base in the meantime, this lets you farm it out, not lose a net worth deficit. See if Tundra feel pressured to smoke across the map and try and catch the split push, or if they're happy just keeping the game static, looking towards the next Roshan.
That'll be coming in 3.5 minutes time. Meanwhile,
XM going to look towards the BKB on the Viper. That would be the next biggest pickup here for XG. We've seen how much damage he does in the fight. It's crazy when the stacks build up.
0.1 second TP there from Thompson. It's DY to evacuate the area. But that Viper is still out there, still farming away that all-important BKB.
And part of the equation that's been working for XG in the fights has been isolating Thompson at the start or taking him out. With his Ags on the Rubik, it's that much more important because you cannot give away Firestorm +1 in a team fight and let him get multiple rounds of these spells off, right? He already has Firestorm, he goes in. Let's say he gets Impale or Pit or Ice Path, something of this nature, and you do not take this Rubik out of the fight, he will win that team fight for Tundra unless the Bear gets bursted, which Q, he's got ideas of his own here, going back for the Dagon. He is very farmed on this Nyx. He does a lot of burst damage. But can you catch the Lone Druid before the true form comes out? That's a big piece of the puzzle here. And BKB done for Ramses means he can frontline a lot more confidently now.
Same goes for Pure.
Yep.
Double BKB timings, which means Ame is going to have to be the one to step up as the big physical damage dealer. You're going to need better Wukongs than what we've seen so far.
Ame, does he know the danger lurking around him right now? This ward might betray him as he doesn't see any of these smoked heroes, but they don't see him.
Oh, it breaks. Thompson, wait, a flare over the top. Ame, he's going to realize what's going on, hopping into the trees. They thought he was maybe on the low ground. So hard to know exactly where a Monkey King is. When the smoke breaks, he could be on any of these trees.
I mean, that is a massive play for both teams. It's a lot of time and a very important smoke wasted for Tundra. They cross the entire map there. Between Ame goes bottom and the team pushes out mid, takes a high ground position. They're going to look to jump Pure mid. Again, if he does not get his ult off.
They did have vision of Ame making his way to bottom and then back to mid.
They still want this Viper BKB. That's the thing. XM, he's so close.
Yeah.
Don't want to fight without that right now. As Tundra, they have their big fighting items. They have the double BKB plus that Tops and Ags. They're not really missing anything right now. Should also keep in mind this Soxa Enchantress. He got to Hurricane Pike and he rolled an Enchanted Quiver. So he is outputting a lot more DPS than he was in those early exchanges. Can be a threat of his own, absolutely. Not a bad hero versus the Viper in the later stages of the fight, honestly. If you just sit there and trade with each other, it's unlikely you get Viper struck broken yourself. You're going to want bigger targets for this spell.
Yeah. Looks like that BKB is going to be completed for XM as Tundra do not go for the high ground push. It would have been a bold move, but perhaps unwise just because we are entering that Roshan spawn period. Last thing you want to do is fail a high ground push and give Xtreme free access to the pit.
Absolutely. This will also wear out that timer on the stolen Firestorm for Thompson. So XG are going to go into this next fight. This Rubik will have to look for the double spell steal. Little bit of an edge.
Pure calls in some reinforcements for another Tormentor.
Of course, doesn't want to take the one-on-one.
Understandable.
There's also a lot of Force Staffs on this Tundra side you have to think about. You have double Force Staff on the two supports, and you have a Force Staff on Thompson. There's a lot of bailout potential, getting heroes out of the Wukong, out of the control.
It's gonna be really good. They know, they just hit the Tormentor, but Ame, he goes in pretty deep, breaks that smoke. They're deciding whether to, he hopped away for the Burrow Strike just in time.
Back in.
Now he hops back in with the BKB, commits that Wukong's command, and now let's see if the Lone Druid can stand toe-to-toe. It gets out of it. Outside of the Wukong's command, but the Bear does die. Meanwhile, XXS getting peppered by Soxa. A stolen boundless strike will stop him getting through the gate, and Soxa does the damage. Now XM, he's not sure quite what to do. The hook shot's gonna stop any movement from him. An Ice Path goes out, tries to go for the kill on Ramses, hoping beyond hope that he can get that damage done, but it will not happen. DY will follow the rest of his team into the grave. Ame is the only survivor. Nobody dies on the side of Tundra.
They all end on Pure, and it was not enough. They didn't have some of the extra spells from the Nyx, who got caught up on the side. Despite dodging the initial initiation on the Monkey King, they output 13,000 damage, and they don't kill a hero. The Lone Druid will completely laugh it off as Tundra say, we're not going to wait for Roshan, we're going to push your base. Just too much sustain. Not enough single target burst damage. Ame needs more damage. And it was a very disjointed fight. Supports did not get to do a lot. And now
Xtreme Gaming are getting picked off before they can actually get their full 5-man. What a heads-up move. Whitemon, Ramsey, somebody spotted him somewhere in that trees, makes that guess, and now instead of waiting for the Viper in 10 seconds, they will have to wait another 40 to be able to have the Nyx Assassin. Time that Xtreme Gaming might not have. As one full lane of barracks goes down, they can turn their heads towards that mid-melee racks as well if they want, or they could back up for Roshan. Roshan is going to spawn a bit late here, but Tundra should still have control of the pit.
Go into base, refill all the resources, make sure you have everything up for this fight. That was also a fight where Thompson got to live for the entire duration, and he didn't get crazy spells that he wanted, but he got a couple boundless strikes off. He got Viper Strike at the end. Those are the two he's holding on to. Again, that's like the easiest target for you to bring down if you're XG. They just pumped everything into the worst thing, which is that bear who lives. If you have Vessel on him, maybe that looks different. But it feels like you have to go on who Jinkyu goes on, and Tundra know it. They're just letting the bear and the Sand King frontline. Even Enchantress is not an easy target. You have to pick your poison here. And Roshan is respawned. See if Tundra just commit straight into the pit, try and do it. I think they absolutely can. This is a potentially game-ending Aegis here.
Really interesting. If Tundra do not commit to doing this, then it will switch over to the other side, which Xtreme Gaming would be very well positioned. They have a high ground ward on that gate. They have heroes already set up. The lanes are pushing in. Tundra sees some of those heroes. They see the Monkey King, the biggest threat.
You have to do Roche here if you're Tundra.
They're going straight to it, which means they should be able to have it. Xtreme Gaming have no response to this move.
No contest. The only saving grace here is you're going to get to your butterfly on Ame, but that might be the last item you get here before you have to fight for your lives in a high ground defense situation. Now, in theory, that can be a tough fight for Tundra, but Lone Druid is one of the best base breakers in Dota.
Yeah.
And he just finished a full Assault Kuros. They're just going to 5-man gate into Ame.
Ame says, Ame's going to go throw the Wukong's command. They immediately hit the Impale. And Pure, oh, he got the fear. Almost pushed Ame out of it, but the Wukong's command stays alive. Can the damage stay up, though? The clockwork goes down. How did Pure manage to get out of here?
What?
He's making a run for it. Throws out the Gleipnirs. The stuns are after him. Ame hops on top. Stun. Where's the stuns? They didn't have it. They go for the bear instead, but they needed that kill on Pure. They needed it to turn the game around.
This hero, sometimes it just does not make any sense. 11,000 damage done by XG and Pure. He just walks it off, man. Gates right into a Wukong, says no problem. If you're XG at this point, like, are you starting to question your own reality? Like, what does it take to bring this Lone Druid down?
Yep.
I think you need all 5 heroes hitting him.
Yeah.
Unless you find him, outside the true form, which has just not been the case for most of this game.
Yeah, I mean, they need some BKB piercing disables to be able to catch him. I mean, they got the perfect opportunity here.
Yeah, they got him to under 250 before the true form, and then he walks it off.
And he just runs away. Pops his BKB. TP's out. I mean, come on.
I think that was another BKB to hero switch, by the way. You got to remember, this Lone Druid only has 3 item slots on his main hero. Pure's been switching them around the whole game.
Yeah. Right now.
Very clutch plays on the itemization slotting from Pure here as he shows off the mechanical ability. XG, they do break down some of that lead, however, and kind of waste a little bit of this Aegis period. By the way, that Aegis went to the Rubik. An interesting choice here, not a high ground breaking Aegis in any capacity. Yes. But I guess if the Lone Druid can't die, I mean, he doesn't need it. He wants his slots on the hero.
Certainly put that to the test in that gate play.
Oh, yeah.
Xtreme Gaming, they couldn't do it there. Perhaps a high ground hold is where it's going to happen.
And I will say maybe the biggest talent in this game for changing situations like that would be the Monkey King 25. You can get an extra ring on this Wukong. Suddenly when you disperse or run out of it, maybe you just die. Maybe Ame doesn't get feared out of it. He is basically 1 level off of this Monkey 25. Finished the butterfly, looking towards an Ags. Has buyback and 300 gold if he wants to hold it up. Feels like so much of this game revolves around the Monkey King, and can he do the damage? Can he find the opening? Can Tundra break XG before this goes ultra late?
A level 25 on Ame would certainly make a huge difference. I mean, they're having the hard time keeping these heroes inside the Wukong's command because they don't have any BKB piercing stuns, right? They just pop BKBs, walk out of it. A bigger ring would go a long ways.
I mean, they have 4 staffs and dispersers, but it's not as good as just being able to push the monkey out or get out yourself.
Yeah.
Ame skirting around this bottom lane, looking for some camps, but we'll find nothing here as this game has evened out a bit more.
Hook shot across, Whitemon hits his mark thanks to a deep lane ward. DY's life is forfeit. 50 seconds timer for him. The bear goes up to the high ground and it's immediately met by staunch resistance. That's a big pit.
That is a very big pit. Thompson happy with the spells he's got right now. Pick up one more easily.
XH's got to feel a little impotent. Much smaller circle from him, but I guess it's enough. The bear is not able to take down that building, and they will be able to wait out there. Jakiro coming back into play. Tundra Pure uses BKB for that. Get his bear out of there, I assume, so that actually is enough cooldown that Xtreme can farm a bit more. Maybe we'll see some of those key items.
And they're pushing towards this Monkey 25. The biggest thing. The more the Viper can scale, the better too. I mean, we saw the high ground's difficult. You can't just siege with the bear versus the Viper unless you jump the Viper, which there's some potential there for Tundra, but it would kind of require Ramsey's committing in. He is also closing in on level 25 on the Sand King. Really big talent in terms of the damage output here. This is a scary hero with 6 slots. Maybe a scary late game for both teams in a lot of ways. And a lot of pressure on Jin Q for this XG lineup to find initiations with the Impale, because that is their best way to start a fight. Like you said, no BKB piercing ability means your initial stuns are vital to your teamfight success. Tundra continue to try and just propose frontliners that you can't go on here. Soxa will pick up a Moon Shard on Enchantress, level 20 of his own.
I mean, he pumped out the most damage in that last team fight. This next one, oh, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they have so many threats. They're trying to deal with the bear, see if they can kill the lone druid quickly, deal with Thompson, whose Aegis has expired. Soxa probably just goes unnoticed by Xtreme Gaming in these fights, and those impetuses do build up.
I think they will notice him at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he is the true 3 in this lineup as this Rubik. He's going to be very annoying on the spell power, but damage-wise, this Enchantress is going to do a lot. And at some point, you're going to have to focus him down. I mean, you would love to be able to Viper strike and break him, but
probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
That Viper is closing in on a Scotty, so his physical threat really starts ramping up. As he's going to be tankier, his just right clicks are going to be even more debilitating for this poor bear. It feels like almost Tundra have to wait for another Roshan and wait for a pickoff. Like, Xtreme Gaming is not just going to sit inside their base the entire time. They need to keep finding more and more items and more farm.
I was about to say, are they? Because they have been sitting here for a while. That lead was down to 9K. They've given up 5K during this period. The Aegis is out. In theory, you're not waiting for anything to expire here. You're just waiting. I mean, are you actually waiting for Ame level 25? He bought out for the Ags, by the way. Has his shard as well. This is a Monkey King with no buyback, trying to get to that talent. The Scotty done for the Viper, another big point here, almost 4K HP on XM. And you got your Underlord BKB. I mean, this is as good as it's going to get for XG for a long time, unless you can win a team fight.
Do you feel like this is a point where they have to contest Roshan, have to smoke up, or do they keep relying on their high ground defense?
To catch 22, that high ground defense is strong for the Viper, but the Roshan fight is very strong for the Monkey King with that level 25 talent, which Ame should have for it. It's kind of which type of team fight do you believe in more at this point? Do you believe you can win this game if you do not claim a Roshan at some point as well?
Okay, they got the 25, instantly smoke up.
They were waiting for it. I mean, they gave up a lot to get there. Like, this was not a free talent by any means, but it is an insanely powerful one in this game. Still, you have to land the Monkey King Wukong's command here. If you blow this spell or Tundra kite it out, it feels like the team fight's over.
The smoke might just stumble into another smoke from Tundra as they collect all 5 of their heroes.
Baiting the Viper.
Baiting the Viper. Will this be any good for them? Tundra sneaking around the side here, but Xtreme holding the hard left-hand side of the map, playing on that high ground.
Tundra can be the ones more patient here because the creeps are pushing in. In fact, they're setting up on Ame.
Ame, this could be dangerous. Oh, he quickly bound the strikes and away into the trees before Ramses pulls the trigger on that blink stun.
They see the auras potentially on the creeps.
Yeah.
Smoke will pop. That was almost an insanely sick read from Tundra. If they had caught that Monkey King on that wave, that's just game over. He still has no buyback for 650 gold.
What a big ability to steal Firestorm. So dangerous in these fights with that kind of AoE that Thompson has.
And he wants to make it even bigger. Bloodstone coming out for this Rubik shortly. I mean, that pit is the entire fight. This Rubik can become a massive late game problem with just the sheer AoE on a lot of these spells.
Yeah, Firestorm plus the Shard plus Bloodstone. We're talking about some serious regen lifesteal going on there.
Another
Tundra back away. A back out, time to do Tormentor, they say.
Another 1v1, no?
This is going to be another time where Xtreme are smoke. See the pop-up there that the Dire did the Tormentor.
There's a big shield
so they
rune.
know where they're at.
Well, give it to Ame. This is a really big rune if they can get a fight out of it. But Tundra should be looking at the lanes right now. They know this is coming.
Oh, and Ame. He feels strong with a shield rune, but he is going to be walking to Tundra heroes. They immediately jump for Ramses, and what a Wukong's command, hitting all 5 of these heroes. Tundra on the run, caught in the pit though. Pure, his hero is going to make it out. His bear will not. And XM holding first step forward, pops BKB, putting damage onto Thompson. Damage on Thompson, it's going to be enough. Can he get away though? Ramsey with a buyback now, pops Bloodstone epicenter. XM, his BKB is only going to last for so long. And Shinkyu, he's going to get diced up. Pure is big and he's bad and he's a deadly bear that is going through hero after hero. An immediate buyback. Ame is going to buy back, but what about the Underlord? What about DY who's left behind on the Jakiro? They won't have all their heroes. They take the fight, they get some kills, they get some buybacks, but ultimately that 27,000 net worth lead is beginning to show its face.
Another fight where you look at the damage numbers and the kills just don't reflect it. Tundra soak it all up there. They're happy to lose their Rubik and a clock to win that exchange. They get the Monkey buy, they get the Nyx buy, they get everybody on the side of XG. There's just not enough damage to punch through. Even with a Wukong on basically everybody in a sick boundless strike, all you get is the bear. Pure still stands strong. 11, 1, and 13 on this lone Druid. He has been untouchable in this series, and he wants to eliminate the last Chinese team in this TI.
Xtreme. Are they going to just give up on Megas, or are they going to try and make this hold? Ame, BKB in 10 seconds. Wukong's command is up. And Tundra are going to call it quits here and go back for Roche.
This game is starting to slip away, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's just not much more you can build to overcome the biggest problem in this game, which has been how do you kill these heroes. And Tundra are going to add an Aegis to that list, and Ags on the Roche as well.
If you are having a hard time keeping these heroes inside of the Wukong's command, doing the damage fast enough to kill them, what does it mean when you have to play against another life on one of these cores? A gate straight to it. They cannot afford to give up this Aegis, but no one's actually going through the gate right now. Tundra. Ame's sitting up in the back, jumps through the trees. A Wukong's command, dead center is Pure, and he's already been hit by some stuns. They are all in to kill the low drone, but Pure got his BKB off. They got a bear kill. Now he has to come in for the road shot. Ame for it, but Ramses with the hit. Whitebot gets the hook, and Ramses takes the Aegis, denying Ame his chance in immortality. It is ripped away from him, and Tundra stomp Xtreme into the ground.
They got basically everything out of that they wanted. Aegis on the Sand King, an absolute gem. And Ame out for 110 seconds here. No buyback on the Monkey King. All up to XM and Jinkyu. And it is another fight where you all in the lone Druid and you were not even close.
The same team fights going the same ways, running over the same ground, surrounded by the same old fears. Another year of unrealized potential, another tournament of broken dreams. Maybe he can save it, but a 4-7, it gets an XM killed. No defense. Ame, XM, both out. No damage in the tank left for Xtreme. The best they could do is get a Sand King who had an Aegis anyway. They've killed him twice, but thrice he'll revive. Thrice will come back into this team fight to end the game. The throat is exposed, and Tundra will lay claim to a top 4 at the International.
And they will